I got to ask you guys a question about something that I'm surprised this actually turned into a story, but people ran with it the way that they did. So there was a video from Cowboys training camp that came out earlier this week in which Trevon Diggs and Dak Prescott were going at it in practice, offense against defense. And Trevon Diggs told Dak Prescott... Trevon Diggs told Dak Prescott, shut your bitch ass up.
Ooh.
Right. Now, of course, because it's the Cowboys... and it's Dak Prescott, it got run with, and everybody said, well, they don't respect Dak Prescott. This shows you what they really feel about him. No premier quarterback gets talked to like that. So Trevon Diggs was asked about this, and he was asked about the back and forth with Dak Prescott. Let's take a listen.
Yeah, it's just practice. I don't know why everybody's making that such a big thing. Like, it's football. This is what we do. This is what goes on the field. I don't know why people are in the business anyway. It's all love. It's friendly. Like, it's nothing against him. It's nothing like that. So, people just want something to talk about. People create narratives of how they want to justify a situation. But at the end of the, that's my guy. We got his back 100%. No one can say anything to us about anything. We're going out there every day and playing for each other every Sunday. So, regardless of what happens on the practice field, what we're doing, we making each other better. We're trying to get better. People just need to mind their business. Period.
So that was Trevon Diggs responding to the commentary from people.
Everybody don't like everybody on a team. Like, let's establish that. That's not always a given that everybody likes everybody on the team. So if he said, shut your B-ass up, he could have meant it, but maybe he didn't, but maybe in the moment he did.
It's also just a phrase, too, you say, right, when you're jawing back and forth. I think it gets blown out. Oh, he called his quarterback up. Are we allowed to say that on air, by the way?
You can say bitch ass, actually.
Can you?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I remember taking the training.
It's just a matter of personal preference in terms
You've had
of
some issues.
if you feel comfortable saying bitch ass.
Like, people say that, but we would say that on air. I mean, now that I know I can say it, I'm going to call Jonas a bitch ass all the time. Yeah.
Lee, have we gone too far? All right.
Lee is panicking.
Oh, we can't say that?
Yes, you can.
Okay,
hold on, Lee.
I know the rule book. I know what words you can use.
I was going to say, you've done this for a while, so I don't
know
really
the rule books.
I
Lee, I don't know if I've been
in the game longer than Lee, but I've been in a while. I know what I can use.
How do we feel about it, Lee?
No. How about no? Hour one would have been fine.
Yeah.
Oh, right. We're outside the safe harbor, folks.
Yeah,
that's what
fair
that
enough.
is.
Man,
right.
Look, because Lee is being driven by complainers. Yeah, so somebody's going to complain, oh, my gosh, I had my kid in the car, and they were saying the
they
B-A
ain't going to
word.
school yet. No one started school yet, so we're okay.
Great
That's
point.
very true.
Okay,
the general point is this. When you're trash talking, you say a lot of things that you say. It's just part of the trash talk. It's part of the response. It's the heat of the battle, heat of the moment. I don't feel like it's it's just part of what it is.
Why take it literally?
If they thought that was bad,
because
listen to them play dominoes or cards or video games.
Else.
Like,
if you guys called me,
here's why, Jonas. Because people on the outside hear a piece of what happens on the inside, and so they try to interpret it based on their perspective. And they can't.
I would say that to my friend.
Football's it's an inside-out sport where those on the inside understand the culture, the perspective, what happens and all that. The people on the outside don't. And so when you get a glimpse of that, and with all the audio and all the access we have now, they try to make more of it. Because Jonas and LaVar in the office, right? That doesn't fly. You guys get in an argument and someone calls the other person a bitch ass, like that's not going to fly. Sorry, Lee. But on the football field, it's pretty common.
No.
Sorry,
Lee. No, Brady. No.
How about no?
I also think people take it too literally. If you guys called me an SOB, I don't think you're actually calling my mom a B.
Right.
It's a figure of speech.
And you're not the son of one.
You know
what I mean? Like,
I don't get. I'm pretty sure my dad.
But some people go that literal.
I swear to God, I'm almost positive my dad called me an SOB at one point in time. So what is he saying? What is my dad actually? I didn't take it literally. We were busting balls. Like, it's not. You don't have to run. But the problem, it's also that it's Dak Prescott and people want him to fail. Like, there's a lot of people that want it to not work.
Here's the thing about Dak, and this is what's funny about I think any athlete in professional football, or any professional athlete for that matter. Once they get paid, people are jealous, and they naturally are like, oh, he better be like the greatest player in the history of the world. It's like, well, okay. Like, if you're a starting quarterback or a starting player at your position, you hope at one point to reset the market. Are you going to play as the best player and have an MVP season that year? I don't know. Probably not. Maybe not. It depends on how things shake out. But there's an element of jealousy. There's an element of tied to, well, with getting paid that much, 4 years from now, we're going to look back, and if Dak Prescott was still under his contract, we'd be like, oh, well, he's not really making that much, comparatively speaking, if he's still a starting quarterback. But to me, it's born out of jealousy. It's born out of the expectations because of how much he gets paid. If he was getting paid $15 million a year, would you think as many people would want to see him fail? Because I don't.
Probably not.
I think he's as nice and as good of a dude as there is. I think he's a great leader. As far as what he's capable of compared to a lot of the other quarterbacks in the NFL, I don't know that he's is going to be able to do as much as a Mahomes or an Allen or Lamar Jackson or Burrow, whoever you want to throw in the conversation. You're not putting him amongst those guys, but because he's compensated as much or up in that tier, you expect that from him. At least that's the perception. And that's really not how, economics work, right?
Whenever I see a guy get paid and people go, oh, he doesn't deserve that sort of contract, I never think like that. I'm happy for him. Good for him. He's set up for life now. Good for him. Like Chase Daniel or some of these other backup quarterbacks who have gotten paid all that money throughout good for them. It doesn't impact me. It's not my money. They're not taking money from me when they're giving it to those players.
I would love for those people who do that to get a dose of their own medicine.
Oh.
Honestly, because
what would that look like?
I don't know what it would look like because they probably don't make enough money for. But just imagine.
You want me to paint a picture, though?
Yeah, paint it.
Sure.
All right. What kind of business are we talking about here?
Let's just say you work for. Let's just say, for the sake of saying, you work for Delta Airlines.
Oh, that's good.
Wow. Now you're really getting this good. Okay. Now you're getting.
Let's say you work for. Let's say you're customer service for Delta Airlines.
I knew where you're going with this.
I got your delay right
here. This is personal. Yeah. So you're basically saying you happen to run across the customer service person that is being paid at the top of the industry, right? Yep. In the number one hub, let's say probably Atlanta. For Delta Airlines. Yep. And this particular customer service person, they just fumbled. They fumbled on a phone call. They had the worst thing ever.
Left at a customer.
It would be like everyone in that terminal walks over to that customer service center and she goes, boo, boo, you stink. You're terrible at your job. Go get another job, you bum. It would be like that happening.
Signs
immediately.
Putting paper bags over their heads.
Exactly. T-shirts that say, go somewhere else, whatever the one. Maybe just a middle finger with the thumb out or thumb in. We don't know.
Right, thumb out or in.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Brady,
and then release the details of what they're paid.
Brady, I have a question, but what if the person with the complaint to the customer service representative from Delta, what if they were being hostile?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
That'd be $20, bro.
Like, for example,
what the F is wrong with you today, bro? Where are you at today, man?
He's
going to derail a bit off of. Oh, wow.
I'm asking follow-up questions.
Hey, you know what Jonas is doing right now? I've always heard this from a coach when adversity strikes. All right, we're all on the boat together, and most people do one of three things. Okay, some grab a life vest and they put it around, they jump off, they're looking to save themselves.
Yep.
There's others who grab a pickaxe, and they are trying to sink that ship faster.
As soon as possible.
And that's where Jonas is today. Yeah. And then there's others who they're just trying to help keep this thing afloat. And if it doesn't work, they're going to go down with it, but they're going to go down fighting to save that boat.
Burn those
Jonas
boats.
has a pickaxe today.
Yeah. got that pickaxe.
Jonas is acting. He needs to shut his beat up.
I'll say this,
Since
though.
I can't say it, it's a no for me to say it anymore.
Because this was all born out of a bad interception that was thrown and some of the trash talk that ensued from that. And really, to this, I guess, scenario we're playing out with our Delta Airlines customer service, because here's what we don't know. Because the hostile...
I'm not flying Delta today, by the way.
we figured.
Go ahead.
The hostile person on the other line, you wouldn't know if they were hostile or not. Very similar to what happens if Brandon Cooks ran the wrong route or ran it different than how Dak was expecting him to. Right. You would have never found out. All you see in the end is Dak's mistake. It goes on Dak's stats. And that's football. That's part of like what you have to wear as a quarterback, getting paid what you do, and everything else that comes along with it. But like, hopefully there's some understanding there. Like, a lot of times you're covering up for other people's mistakes, and you unfortunately have to fall on the sword for them.
It's exactly why I don't think they should allow cameras at practice for training camp. I think nobody in any workforce allows cameras or allows themselves to be judged on their preparation or their getting ready for work.
You're actually kind of, it's weird because it's entertainment. It's an entertainment industry. Like, I know we could say it's sports, but it should be. And then they do say sports and entertainment.
We don't watch a rehearsal of a show. We don't watch.
Sure, people do. Sure, people do. You'll
watch
dance moms and stuff like that, and the cheer
moms reality
and
TV.
Stuff.
That's a different genre. That's what
they make so much money off of people watching the preparation, the feelings and the emotions involved with the parents and the coaches.
Yeah, but that's its own separate show of it, right?
Sure,
and that's what you're tapping into for it.
Sure.
But I'm just saying, if you look at like what you're judged on, is ultimately the end product, at least in football. And that's the game. It doesn't matter if you throw 8 interceptions in practice. People think that that's going to be correlated to how you're going to play in the game or that's going to translate.
It's dumb.
But the reality is, like, we watch the making of a movie or behind the scenes after we've watched the actual final deal. And I'll tell you this much. If it's not a good movie or it's not a good show, I'm not watching that because I don't care how they made it or what they talked about or what they did because it doesn't matter if it wasn't a good show, right? It's probably similar to, a lot of this. But, I mean, look, if you want to release reality TV for an example of things, I mean, you can kind of go off the rails.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they listen.
I'm just saying, people want to know. That's why this is even a story in a segment of the show, is because people took that and they ran with it and they want to use it for something, whatever the agenda may be. I don't know, good or bad, just reporting, doesn't matter. People care. Like, oh my gosh, it was Trevon and Dak.
He doesn't respect him.
Like if it were the 53rd man and the 52nd man on the roster, wouldn't nobody give not one damn about what them dudes had to say to one another, if they fought, if they went off into the woods and kicked each other's asses for about an hour. Well, they might care if that happened. But, I mean, people don't even really care about stuff like it's the polarizing figures that are involved with these things. It's the stars. It drives the game. Listen, the NFL is always going to be shield-driven, but it's still the personalities that drive what's going on within the NFL. That's why this matters.